5-point game, 104-99.
Back to that zone defense. Who's going to knock down a shot for the United States?
For some reason, whenever those moments came at the end of games, close games, big shots needed to be made, it's like you just zone out. The crowd's not there. Once I drove through the zone and I hit Cole caught it jab.
Puts up the three. That's good.
And he turned and he did like this.
Cole just said.
You can really enjoy the moment. Like, you can look around in the arena and kind of soak it all in and enjoy that.
The best player in the world. It's an esteemed title for any player in any sport. Of course, they'll have to prove that they're the best player in the world by beating everyone else. Like Noah Lyles will only be too happy to point out.
World champion of what?
Unfortunately, quote-unquote, best players in the world from the best basketball league in the world really hasn't exactly lived up to that recently.
Here it is. It gets to Schroeder, he throws it up, and the Germans have done it! They have stunned the United States in the semifinals!
They have beaten the United States of America to advance to the semifinals of the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
The final heave from midcourt and beyond, and Nigeria has upset the United States in an exhibition game, 90-87.
And it was the same case back in 2004, when after more than a decade of dominance pioneered by the 1982 Barcelona Dream Team, this happened.
Only the 5th USA loss since 1936. Gold for Argentina, silver for Italy, bronze for the USA.
One of the greatest underdog runs in the history of basketball, sure. But on the flip side, it's one of the biggest disappointments of Team USA basketball. And it happened at their precious Olympic Games. They also placed third in the FIBA World Championships 2 years later, after finishing out of the top 4 in the competition in 2002. Add that to 9/11, the housing bubble burst crisis, Iraq and Afghanistan, Team USA and the USA in general was in pretty bad shape. Like how they were in 1988 after they finished third, their lowest finish ever in the Olympics at the time. And so they needed another dream team for the 2008 Olympics in Beijing, not only to redeem the national team, but also to redeem America in their own way. A redeem team, if you will. And so they got a collection of the best players in the NBA. LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, and other all-stars and all-timers. But the Alpha Wolf, the MVP of the league, the face of the NBA, and the leader of the Redeem Team was none other than the Black Mamba, Kobe Bryant. And it was time for him to prove that Team USA is the best basketball team in the world, and that he, Kobe Bean Bryant, was the best player in the world. Team USA back then was undergoing what we like to call today as a rebuild. They just suffered arguably their worst international tournament run to date, losing 3 matches, the most up until that time, on the way to just a bronze medal. It wasn't like in 1988 when they had to draft in college kids to compete against grown men in the games. No, they were led by Allen Iverson, with names like Tim Duncan, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, and Stephon Marbury before he got blackballed from the league. This made it all the more disastrous for Team USA. Former Suns owner Jerry Colangelo was tapped to be the new program director for the rebuild, wherein he put into place a plan that would guarantee 3 years of guaranteed regular training for the Team USA pool. This is to avoid the failed formula of assembling a group and having a 3-week training camp before flying off to the tournament. His next step was to get a new head coach, and his #1 candidate was the one and only Coach K. Mike Krzyzewski was a very experienced figure and a longtime head coach of the Flame Duke Blue Devils. Hell, he even coached a member of the original Dream Team in Christian Lettner. But with all the suits and executives selected, it was time to pick the players. And despite all the top-tier talent in the league, Colangelo and Coach K only had one name in mind for the first pick of the Redeem Team.
For the night at least. Bryant for 80. This would be 18 for 20 from the line and an 81-point game.
Here it is. Here comes George to Kobe Bryant. Bryant inside. It's good. It's good. Tie game. Tip it. Bryant with the save.
Oh, you got to get a shot here.
Final seconds. Bryant for the win. Bang!
Kobe Bryant was the consensus best player in the league and had the MVP for that season to show for it too. But even he wasn't invincible. He just lost in the NBA Finals against Boston's Big Three. He still hasn't shaken off that notion that he couldn't win without Shaq. He had the controversy with Shaq too, with people pointing to him as the reason why Shaq left. Don't forget, he was still dealing with the 2004 controversy too, the reason why he became the Black Mamba in the first place. But he was the chosen one, regardless of everything. Number 24 was tasked to hold up that banner for Team USA. Coming off a season, 28 points, 6 rebounds, and 5 assists for all 82 games, 36, and 2 steals in the playoffs, culminating in a brutal loss against his team's greatest historical rival. This was Team USA's redemption tour. But it was Kobe's redemption tour too, to really establish himself as the top dog and the best player in the world. This decision was huge. It was the turning point for the program. Kobe never bothered to answer Team USA's call before, but then he was suddenly even joining the team for the FIBA Americas tournament. For reference, the last USA roster for that tournament featured the likes of Jordan Bell, Stanley Johnson, and Alfred Payton. For Kobe to join the team for competitions like that, well, that showed how dedicated he was to the cause, and the other superstars quickly followed suit. Of course, LeBron, D-Wade, and Melo were dead set on redeeming themselves from the 2004 disaster. They were joined by their fellow 2003 draftee Chris Bosh, serving as the team's starting power forward. The best center in the league at the time, Dwight Howard, was also drafted in. LeBron's good friend and MVP candidate Chris Paul was tasked to play point, being backed up by all-star Deron Williams and a veteran Jason Kidd. Other vets who joined the cause were Carlos Boozer, Tayshaun Prince, and Michael Redd rounded out the roster. Now, these cats were talented individually. Dwayne was already a Finals MVP at the time. LeBron was already getting shouts to be the new face of the NBA too. But they had to be united. They needed to have chemistry. They needed to be on the same page. As team captain, it was Kobe's job to facilitate that and make it happen. And he did that like how he always did. Lead by example.
Kobe is downstairs in the lobby with his bag and his sneakers and his gloves, like weightlifting gloves. And we're like, yo, where you, like, joking, like, where the fuck you going?
Like, where you going, bro?
I'm going downstairs.
I'm going to the gym.
Kobe was already, like, drenched in sweat. And we was like, oh, yeah, he different.
Like, man, it's 4 o'clock, man. I'm 5 o'clock, man. I'm going to sleep. I'll see you at practice.
As we're going in the elevator up to our rooms, we're like, did you hear that? Like, we're all talking to each other like, this guy's really dedicated.
Seeing, like, you know, the greats in there doing their thing and leading that pack, and it's like, oh, I'm here, I'm with you, like, let's go. And he created that, like, he wanted that. He wanted to see who was gonna commit. I'm gonna be honest with you. I wasn't going at no fucking 4:30, that's too early. We started getting down there for, you know, breakfast and lifting weights, and we would lift, then we would eat, and then go to practice.
I make sure I'm up by sunrise, I get out of bed, I put on my gear and I head downstairs. But when I get there, Kobe's already there, with ice packs on his knees, drenched in sweat. Now, it took me a minute to figure it out, but this guy wasn't only awake before me. He had already worked out. He had just played in the finals days earlier. Meanwhile, I'd been off for months and I was still exhausted.
Afterwards, here's what Kobe had to say about it.
It is a different team. I think it's a different attitude. I think it's, we understand the significance and the importance of representing our country. And I think that was something that was maybe missing on those past teams.
This was not just a collection of American players. This is an actual team. A hard-working, united collective led by the Kobe Bryant. This is Team USA. And soon after, it was time for redemption. Beijing 2008. Kobe and Team USA versus the world. First up, the hosts, China, 101-70. Yao Ming and the Chinese were absolutely no match for the USA's firepower. Kobe Bryant had 13 points, but it was his understudy, D-Wade, who led the scoring with 19 points. This superstar, who was fast becoming the greatest player of his team's history, who's the man of his team, embraced his role off the bench because of the Black Mamba's influence. D-Wade once again led the team in scoring against Angola with 19. Next game saw Kobe lead the team in scoring with 18 against Greece. And we should mention, he's known as a scorer, and he did score a bunch. But when he wasn't scoring, he was diming everyone up.
The first two games. Bryant guarded by Demon Tides, who's a fabulous defender. Nice pass. He missed free throw. Kobe Bryant the rebound. Feed inside.
Or hustling, or defending, or leading his team, which is exactly what they needed ahead of the much-awaited clash against Spain, who were the defending world champions from the 2006 FIBA Championship. They had a real strong squad of players who's been playing with each other for a long time. High-flying Rudy Fernandez, Jose Calderon, 17-year-old star boy Ricky Rubio, and they were bannered by Pau and Marc Gasol. But of course, Team USA is Team USA, and this is how Kobe reacted to that information.
Man, it's the defending world champions. We're both undefeated, and this is the game everybody was waiting to see.
My big brother came to see me with my teammates, which everyone was like, whoa, Kobe's in our apartment, how cool. And I believe, that might have been part of his strategy to kind of soften me up.
And he was pretty much on the money.
And you said, I'm running through Powell's fucking chest.
First play of the game, I'm running through Paul Gasol. We was like, what?
Man, you tripping.
And he said, I'm running through that motherfucker.
I swear, the first play of the game.
And well, first play of the game. And that tight matchup became a 119-82 blowout. What Kobe did that day, in the marquee matchup of the tournament against his teammate and his closest friend in the NBA in the very first play of the game, well, it just ignited a fire in the Americans. LeBron had 18 points. Wade had 16 off the bench, and Olympics Melo was also officially born that day, hitting 4 to 6 from deep on the way to 16 points as well. Kobe just had 11 points, but his leadership and toughness, regardless of the competition, is the driving force behind Team USA steamrolling through their next games. 51-point drubbing against Germany. How times have changed. 31-point dub against the Aussies. And then a rematch against old bitter foes in Manu Ginobili, Luis Scola, and the Selección de Basquetbol de Argentina. The team that humiliated Team USA 4 years ago, that sent them into a rebuild. The team that upset the team that contained Tim Duncan, Iverson, and LeBron. They didn't have Kobe back then though, and Luis Scola found out right away how different this Team USA is with Kobe being. Team USA dominated in a 20-point win, with 7 players in double digits. And just like that, Team USA, driven by Kobe Bryant, is back in the finals. Everything went according to the predictions, with other favorite Spain up for the rematch. They were dormant in their run too. But this was Kobe Bryant, a Kobe Bryant who had just lost in the NBA Finals for the first time in his career. A Kobe Bryant who was tasked to help redeem the failures of his country in this competition. A Kobe Bryant leading the Redeem team. So, did he deliver?
But there's a lot of guys who've never been that ultimate champion, and that's what they're shooting for tonight is Kobe Bryant.
All the way out to Kobe Bryant. Uncontested jam. Paul throws it ahead. Kobe Bryant up and in. Wade to Kobe Bryant. Bryant on the drive. Tough shot. Gets it to go. Bryant fakes. Now drives. Out to Williams for 3. Bang. Darren Williams out to Kobe Bryant. Stripped by Rubio. Kobe Bryant gets it back. Inside pass to Howard for the slam.
It was a much closer game than their preliminary game. D-Wade was going off from the bench once again, but Rudy Fernandez and Pau Gasol were giving the USA buckets and kept Spain within striking distance. The USA were ahead, but they needed to put the dagger into the Spaniards. So naturally, they went to their killer.
Back up top to Wade on the penetration. Kicks it back out to Bryant. Bryant puts up the 3. It's good.
Game over. Game finished 118 to 107. D-Wade with a monster 27-point game. CP3, Melo, and LeBron in double digits too. But more than his 20 points, Kobe hit the crucial shots that kept Spain away and finally got Team USA over that hump of embarrassment on their road to redemption. Jobs finished. From then on, Team USA men's basketball has never went home from the Olympics without a gold medal. They nearly slipped up in Tokyo, but fortunately they also had a historically great scorer with a snake as an alter ego. More than a decade of dominance started with the Black Mamba in 2008, proving in Beijing, China, that Team USA is still the best basketball team, and that Kobe Bryant was the undisputed best player in the world.